Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. Today we're taking a look at a steel wheel. This is a new steel wheel for 2019, and you can see here it's called the Gienah. Pretty interesting knife, D2 steel, G10, available in a number of different colors, different blade color. There's like a black or stonewash or black wash, I should say. And the black version is going to have different colored standoffs rather than these. I'm going to call these guys orange. I think I had a bit of a debate with that about someone whether they were red or orange. I'm going with orange. Anyway, pretty nice knife. If you want one, go pick one up at White Mountain Knives. You can use my discount code SHARPSTUFF for 10% off. And I've got to say to you guys that that steel will, I should say, has been on a bit of a run this year, at least so far the knives that I've tried, and certainly the ones I've seen. Like anyone, I have limitations, both time and finances, and so I can't review every single knife in existence, but the knives I've been able to handle, I've been quite happy with. And in addition, the knives that I've been able to sort of follow and do a little bit of research on seem pretty well done as well. So I've got to say, good on Steel Will for doing that. By the way, they did send this one out to me for review, so huge thank you for that. And this is a great knife, so it's always awesome when you get to handle something that's really, really fantastic, and you can get a lot of enjoyment out of going through the review process, and certainly that's the case with this guy. So fairly big knife. That's one of the reasons I like it. Size on this guy is 8 13/16 inches overall, 7 3/8 on the blade. So wow. Let's try 3 7/8 on the blade. Clearly I haven't had enough coffee today. 3 7/8 on the blade, which is almost 4 inches. The handle is 5 inches pretty much exactly. Okay, so that's that length when closed. And the grip area here is very, very generous. You can see if I hold this, I've got still quite a bit of handle sticking out. So even if you have, just massive hands, you would be fine with this knife. I find it very, very comfortable and well suited to my hand size. Let's take a look at this blade. So we've got a really nice satin finish on here. I like the way Steel Will does their satin finish. This is D2 steel, and I've commented on this before. D2 is a fine steel, and I do like the performance of it. And so I appreciate when knives that are aimed at sort of the budget side of the marketplace opt for D2 instead of, say, 8CR13 MOV or something like that, or 440. But there are other similar steels at a similar price point that I would prefer a little bit more. Something like 14C28N or maybe 9CR18 MOV would have been nice to see because of the stainless properties. But once again, I feel like a broken record saying this. For my use, D2 performs quite well. It's going to be subject a little bit to your uses, to the part of the world you live in, to how often you carry your knife and where you carry it. I've said this before, but I've had D2 rust a little bit from sweat. So I sometimes, whatever knife I'm carrying that day, it'll be in my pocket. And if there's a fire call, I'll respond to the call, of course, and I'll be wearing bunker gear. And if it's a long time and it's really hard work, you'll get a bunch of sweat in there. You're basically wearing a snowsuit. So you get, you're working hard, you get a bunch of sweat in there. And I've had knives corrode a little bit. So, if you're in those kind of circumstances, you might want to be aware of that. I found the performance on this blade to be quite good. Now it's pretty, it's not what I would call a super slicey grind. So you can see it's not a really high flat grind. It's just a lower flat grind, sort of a drop-ish point with a swedge here. Kind of reminiscent. If you removed the swedge, it would kind of almost look like a Kershaw Leak kind of same type of blade, but kind of a different shape. Pretty useful, pretty interesting, and so I think seeing a knife with a little bit of a different blade shape, I think is a welcome change because it gives you something a little bit different. This one is different, but also quite handy. It cuts well. It's got a nice fine point. So in terms of cutting stuff and acting like a blade is supposed to act, this one does pretty well, while also having, a grind and a style that lends itself to a little bit of toughness. So it's a little fine at the tip, but there's quite a bit of material carried out here. So I find it balances itself out pretty darn well. Sort of a long, slim blade, lots of cutting edge, all things that I particularly like. Now, if you're a guy who likes, I don't know, a 2-inch blade or something, this is probably not the knife for you. But if you like larger knives, if you like a big slim knife like an Endura or a, Cold Steel, Broken Skull, or something along those lines, I think this knife will be kind of right in your alley. Up your alley is what I'm trying to say. And I definitely lean that way myself. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of this blade, and it's worked well for me. So moving on to the action. Now, this is not a knife that's, we're going to be writing home about the fantastic smooth action. It's good, it's comfortable, it's usable. The detent is nicely dialed in, so it does flick out quickly. But you're seeing that I'm having to push the blade shut. Now, it's smooth. Okay, very nice, but it's not going to be really drop shutty. And you can get it to drop shut or to be very, very, to not have a lot of friction. But this is on phosphor bronze washers. And in order for me to get it really, drop shut, I had to loosen it off to the point that there was a bit of blade play. You guys know me, I can't deal with any blade play. So I've tightened this to where there's no blade play. It's rock solid. And at that level, okay, of tightness on the screw there, it deploys quickly and easily. It's comfortable. The thumb stud is great. The lock bar is great, but you're seeing that I am having to push the blade closed. And I mean, that's completely acceptable. I'm not, there's no complaint about that other than just to point it out. All right. Yeah. So overall, lockup, deployment, action, all that stuff is quite nice. And it's what I would expect from steel will. As I say, I've been pretty impressed with them the last little bit. Moving on to the handle, we've got a G10 handle with a pretty nice texturing on it. We have a movable clip that's not deep carry, nested liners, bit of pop of color back there with the orange standoffs. I don't know if I like the orange with the blue all that much. It's not bad, but maybe a different color option. I don't know, even silver might have been nice there. But Steel Will likes to try and give a little bit of flash to their knives by adding that little pop of color. If I grab the Gienah from over here, you can see they do it with the blue standoffs there with the black G10. So how this knife is put together, I'm pretty satisfied with. I especially like the touch of class, of finish that is offered by nested liners. I find that just makes a knife a lot more, I don't know, it just feels like they put in a little more effort to try and clean things up. A liner lock with exposed liners like this, it feels like, yeah, we're just slapping this thing together. Where here they've put in some time and energy to get it really clean and finished looking, and I do like that. Let's see, what else do we need to say here? I guess not much. Clip. Oh yeah, the clip. Clip here is a little hot, rides a little low on the knife. However, I think you can see the way it's designed. If you had a deep carry clip here, there'd be nothing left of the knife to get a hold of to extract from your pocket, and it would be rather difficult. So with the way this is placed, the screws here actually work pretty nicely. Now, I'm not a big, I don't care if a knife's deep carry or not. I do care if it goes in and out of pocket easily, and this one really does, and it's very comfortable when you're carrying it. So those are things I care more about, that it's just not deep carry. And a little bit of a blue triangle sticking out of my pocket doesn't bother me in the least. Everyone I know, and even lots of people I don't know, know that I carry a knife, so I don't really care if they can see it. Let's get to some comparisons. First off, just the ones that are more for size. There's a pair of two. Somewhat competitive would be the Rat Model 1 in D2. This one has the carbon fiber, so it's not going to be as grippy as this, but I could see someone, who's looking for, something budget friendly in D2 steel considering this. This guy out of the way. I wanted to bring in one other knife. So this knife, because of its size and sort of because of its balance and roll, kind of reminds me of the Recon 1. It's bigger, it's ground to be a little bit on the tough side of things. Obviously the lock is not going to be as strong, but the price isn't going to be as strong either. So that may be something to think about. I do have a couple of other G10 liner locks with D2 steel here. Here's the Best Tech Muskie. Oh yeah, this is a good example. Here is the Real Steel Sidus, I want to say, SIDUS. Bird Raven 2. If I've got anything else, I'll bring in the Gienah last because It's a little bit different. The Gienah is a little bit cheaper. It's going to be on bearings. Really nice. It's still the same steel. Overall, both of these are pretty darn impressive. The Gienah is going to be maybe a little bit tougher, certainly more durable in the sense that it doesn't have bearings, and definitely a bigger knife as well. So if you like bigger stuff, you might be leaning in that direction. Overall, guys, I actually like this knife quite a lot. It's very comfortable in hand. The blade is nicely designed and nicely balanced for the kinds of things that I like to do with a pocket knife. It's a little thick to maybe do a bunch of food prep, but it serves just fine. The other day I was making the kids lunches, and I, cut up some cheese and meat and cut the sandwiches with it, and it worked fine for that. That's not generally what I do with my folding knife unless I'm specifically doing it to test to make a video like this. So overall, yeah, I think this is a knife that's comfortable in hand. It's got a useful blade. Oh, wait. One thing I forgot to say here, the retention. So there's a bit of a ramp here with some nice jimping, and then just a little bit of a swell there at the top of the handle, and it makes the retention on this very, very good. So very confidence inspiring knife. I meant to say that before, but I didn't. So now we've still included it. So yeah, I think steel will has a real win here, especially if you like bigger, slim knives like this. And I really, really find myself attracted to that. So there you go. Overall, great knife from Steel Will. And again, they just keep, there are so many knives out from Steel Will this year that I feel like I could say the same thing where, yeah, they've done a really good job. And so I hope they keep up the good work, because it's always nice as a knife enthusiast to have cool stuff to be excited about and to share with you. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to pick one of these up, like I said, check the link in the description. Go to White Mountain Knives, and you can use my discount code to save yourself 10%. Don't forget, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.